Welcome to episode 106 of the GrowCast show. I'm your host, Rayson Chu, and today I am joined by Jasmine Wu, Assistant Vice President at Manulife Financial Advisers. She reveals how to optimize your financials, freeing up cash flow, building passive income, and protecting your family's future.
Thank you.
Jasmine.
Thanks for the introduction as well.
Today, she's also going to share with us the truth about what separates top advisors from the rest and why now is actually one of the best times to join the financial industry as well. And whether you're looking to take control of your money or you're curious about a career that changes lives, this is an episode you won't want to miss. I'm really curious, what sparked your passion for helping people optimize their financial resources?
I would say in the early years, I myself been through it where I realized I was not optimizing my resources as well. And after I actually looked into my own portfolio, I realized that I could actually free up some funds. I was able to have the freedom to make better choices, right? And save time as well. So I value all these very strongly. And as I work with my clients, I realize that a lot of them are very hardworking people who, don't often have the opportunity to make their money work harder for them. So as I work with many families, I recognize they too also get to experience the same that I had. So that's what drives me. And if I can add one more point is that in my line, it's not just about optimizing the resources, it's also inspiring them to do better in their careers. Because when they do better in their careers, they will have more resources, more possibilities. And with that, we can do better planning.
What's the difference between just buying an insurance policy and doing a full financial optimization?
Okay, so a lot of times people think that, one policy will probably solve like one problem. But the thing is, in life, we do have different priorities. So I always tell my clients, right, one policy cannot solve all the problems or all the priorities that you have, right? We have to look at it progressively depending on the milestones that you have achieved, right, or want to achieve. So looking at the whole portfolio, optimizing the portfolio would help to solve these problems at the get-go. Rather than, if they buy one and then they realize a few years down the road, it doesn't meet their objectives or goals.
Can you share a client story where you help them free up cash flow and increase coverage at the same time?
So one of my favorite stories is there's this family, young couple. So they just got married, they have their house, and then they have a newborn. Then they have expenses like childcare and even like considering whether they need helper. So all of these adds on a lot of stress on the income of the family, right? So when I approached them, I told them that I can actually help them to restructure the portfolio, help them to save 30% of their premiums and actually increase their overall coverage by 300,000, right? And with the money saved, they can actually channel these funds into an investment plan that can help to expedite maybe their retirement plans or even the education plans they have for the child. As I pointed out earlier as well, one of the other thing was to also encourage them, right, to actually look for job opportunities that can give them higher income as well.
So how do you rebuild trust when someone has had a bad experience with an advisor before?
So a lot of times, this often happens, I feel, is when there's a miscommunication, right, or a misunderstanding with the advisors, right? I believe that every advisor out there, we all try to do our best, right? We all try to serve our clients' best interests. So I make sure that I spend the time to really listen to what the problems that the client was facing, right? And to, of course, show empathy. After that, I will share how I run my business, right? I will let them know like the way I run my business. So when it comes to having transparency, that's something that I emphasize with my clients as well, right? So that they understand that this journey that I walk with them is for the long run.
Why is clarity before action so important in financial planning?
I would say that it is important, not just in financial planning, actually in setting any goals that we have, we definitely need some form of clarity first, right? We need to know the direction or the end point that we want to hit to. Right. But particularly in financial planning, we need that kind of clarity because we are dealing with your finances that will affect or impact your future. Right. So when, clients have clarity of where they are putting their finances, right, they will feel more assured that, what they're planning is for the long short-term goals. So even if there are any disturbances during the short term, they are hardly impacted because I've already shared with them why it's important to have these plans in place.
How do you know if someone is overpaying or duplicating in their insurance and investment portfolio?
So what I do for my clients is I usually do a full audit. So I collect all their policies, then I will categorize them, and I'll break it down for them to see what kind of premium they're paying for what kind of coverage. And oftentimes in doing so, they will realize that they are actually paying, more than they should. Sometimes, yeah. Especially plans like accident plans. Sometimes people don't realize they're paying 2 to 3 plans. So, when I actually share with them my findings, right, and they realize that they can actually save on all these redundant or unnecessary plans, right? It frees their cash flow more. So if they want, they can put into their retirement, or otherwise, then they have more to spend for themselves.
What's your approach to balancing protection, wealth creation, and estate planning?
So in all 3 aspects, they're all equally important. So if I can use building a house as an analogy. So protection is really like foundation, right? You need that because in case anything happens, okay, with insurance protection, it will cover you in times of needs, right? And when it comes to accumulation, it's like building up the walls and the roof, right? So you build the house nicely so that your family members can come in to stay, right? So estate planning will be handing them the keys. It's like a blueprint to the house as well. Like the family members can come in and enjoy, right? So I like to tell my clients that in balancing all 3 of it, right, it's not just about preparing for what is at present, but it's also for the future. You're passing down not just your wealth, but you're also passing down opportunity and freedom to your children to have the choice, right, to live the life that they want.
How do you help clients start planning their estate without feeling it's too early?
I think a lot of people think that estate planning is only for the older people, but actually it's for the responsible people. Right, because at the end of the day, right, we all have our loved ones. If you plan early enough, you actually prevent your loved ones from getting into disputes, right? You make sure that your wealth are distributed according to your wishes, right? The worst thing to do is to have all this wealth, you build it up, and then at the end of the day, it's not actually enjoyed by your loved ones or your beneficiaries. And instead, they are fighting over each other, over your assets.
What's the right time to start building passive income streams?
Well, correct answer will be yesterday. And of course today.
Okay.
So when it comes to building passive income, right, a lot of times people think that, I just put some money aside and then maybe it will generate, and then that's passive income. But actually passive income is a lot of consistency, right? You need to have that kind of discipline, right? It has to have a kind of structure to ensure that it's really an income. Because imagine when you go and work, right, you would have to put in the hours to get paid. So if it's passive income, if you're not actually putting in the hours, then how are you going to get paid? So that comes with the structure, the discipline, right? And, putting time, which is basically time to just wait it out. Then eventually your money will grow to give you the passive income that you desire.
How do you explain the value of long-term investing to someone who prefers short-term returns?
Well, short-term returns are definitely very exciting. I definitely enjoy having some short-term returns as well. But there it is unpredictable, right? Whereas long-term investments is about building wealth. So between choosing a quick win versus wealth, right? Especially if you want this wealth to grow, right? Long-term investment is something that will benefit us in the long run. So I always tell my clients that, most importantly is you build your foundation of having your wealth built up, right? With whatever extra cash that you may have, and you think, you're okay to lose that bit of money, you can put it into any asset class, like be it, in something that gives you quick returns, that's fine, as long as your foundation is really built with me.
How do you help the sandwich generation juggle kids' education, parents' needs, and their own retirement, while still ensuring a fun current lifestyle?
I myself is in the sandwich generation, so I can totally understand, right? It is definitely not easy, right, to be responsible to your kids, to your parents. And of course, in today's lifestyle, we also need to enjoy, because at the end of the day, if we do not take care of ourselves, we will not have the capacity to take care of the people around us, right? So I always tell my clients, it's something that is progressive. We have to prioritize. So I help my clients prioritize by, putting their goals into different buckets. So as we talked about earlier, a lot of it comes first that to ensure they have sufficient protection, right? And if they have excess monies, then we can look at, okay, how can we plan this for either the children's education or their retirement planning, right? And then from there, of course, I also always encourage them to make sure that, they are always kept up to date in terms of their own development, so that they can have the career growth that they want. Because with more resources, right, then we can do more planning.
What are the 3 non-negotiable insurance covers every Singaporean should have?
I think in today's day and age, where most people understand the first thing they need is hospitalization plan, because the rise of medical costs is very high in Singapore, right? Some people like to say that it's okay to just pass away, but it's not okay to fall sick in Singapore. Right? So hospitalization plans as well do not cover 100% coverage anymore like it used to. Right? Most insurers are going on a co-insurance basis. So that also means that your second most important insurance that you should have would be critical illness coverage. Touch wood, in case anything happens, you fall sick, critically ill, you would need that kind of payout. And that also leads to the next insurance, which is about replacement of income, right? So basically, you want coverage that can cover whether you when you're not able to work or command that kind of pay that you used to.
How can estate planning go beyond wills and trusts to truly protect a family's future?
Not sure in the audience how many people really understand what estate planning is. Most commonly, people think estate planning is just writing wills and having trust set up, but actually it's beyond that, right? We also look at things like simple things like, have you done your lasting power of attorney? Have you nominated your policies, your CPF nominations? Actually, estate planning is a plan, right? To ensure that there is no leakages when it comes to passing on your wealth to your next generation, right? So if you don't plan that well, right, then you probably will be investing into something that would probably have leakage where money is actually, going off to someone else rather than to your own family members.
What's one financial myth you wish more Singaporeans would stop believing?
I think one thing that I hear very common is that, when I have more resources when I'm older. So people tie this idea of, when I'm older, I have more resources, right? Yeah, but the truth is that, right, as I said, life is quite unpredictable. For my clients who thought that they will not fall sick, right, when they're younger, they're so strong and healthy, they will not fall sick, so they can wait. Right. And for my clients who are in good jobs right now, right, they will think that, it's okay, my job will always be this good. I will always be earning a high income. But that's not true, because in my line, I've seen how many young people have fallen sick. And by the time they want to buy insurance, actually they're either ineligible or, they could be charged more for wanting to buy the same amount of coverage as someone else who is very healthy, right? And for those that actually thought that they have high income and they can sustain that income, I've seen how they get retrenched and then they can never find back the pay that they used to get. Yeah. So the idea is not to wait. Yeah, the myth is don't wait.
What's one estate planning myth you wish more Singaporeans would stop believing?
So estate planning myth, I think, is quite similar to the previous question in the sense that they think they can wait, right? Because they only need to do it when they are older, when they have more assets, right? Okay, when they are richer, right? But the truth is that, it's really about responsibility. Yeah.
Yep.
Everyone in Singapore, if you're a working adult, especially if you're married, you already own a flat. And a flat easily costs how much these days? 500,000? Yeah, that itself is really a sizable asset, right? So really estate planning is for people who want to be responsible towards their family. They want to show their family that, careful planning has been done to ensure that in case anything happens to them, right, the burden will not be on them. and that, they will be the one that fully benefit from all the hard work, right, that you have put into building that wealth.
What made you swap a role in an investment bank for a more people-focused career in financial advisory?
So, if I told you I woke up thinking that I'm going to be a financial advisor, that's obviously a lie. So, in my role in the past, it was actually very structured. I like the structure and the pace, right? I get to meet people from different countries as well because it's a multinational. But I think I always had it in me that I wanted to do something that is purposeful and meaningful, right? And the kind of interaction that you can have with people on a much deeper level. When I transited into financial advisory, right, that met my inner needs in that sense, right? Like I enjoy talking to people, finding about more about their lives, and it made it extra meaningful when I can see what I've done for them actually helps to transform their lives.
How did your first few years in the financial advisory business shape the leader you are today?
So the first few years was definitely not easy. As you would know, this industry is not easy. Okay, you really have to learn to be very resilient and to be to have humility, right? To be rejected almost daily, right, is like part and parcel. Yeah. So of course initially it was very tough, but I do enjoy the challenge as well. So, having the right mindset, making sure that I can challenge myself to improve myself, right? I invest a lot of time in self development to make sure that I have the requisites of being resilient and also resourceful. Yeah. So that, that helped me to be able to translate some of these skills to my team as well.
What separates MDRT, COT, and TOT advisors from the rest in the industry?
Okay, so definitely there must be a difference, right?
Yep.
But if you talk about technical difference, I don't think there will be a very, very big technical difference. Really, it's about the mindset, right? The mindset of someone who is MDRT, COT, and TOT is probably going to be quite different, right? People who are aiming for such big goals in their career, they tend to be more disciplined, right? So they always show up in everything that they do.
Yep.
Yeah. So when you're able to reset your mindset, right, that you see this shift, and in doing so, you start to see a transformation within yourself. You can do a lot of things that you didn't think you used to be able to do, right? And as you move from one stage to the other, that's where you will receive or see your breakthrough. Yeah.
Right.
And then that's how people, actually achieve, whether it's MDRT, COT, or TOT. It's really about at that point that their mindset, what did they set their goals on?
How do you help new advisors find their footing quickly and hit MDRT fast?
So I would say, especially if they're new to the industry, right, the first 90 days is very critical. It's very important because, as I mentioned earlier, right, being rejected is very, very normal. Right. So I will be there, right, to be their support system, right? Make sure that structurally they actually know their knowledge, as in their product knowledge is good, right? They know what they can offer to the clients, right? At the same time, to go through with them some role plays, some case studies, right? Because every client is different as well. To be with them, to show them the support, to make sure that at the end of the day, whether is it, they got a case or they actually better manage a client objections, all these are small wins that I will celebrate with them, right? Yeah. And then from there, right, when they realize that, in that 90 days, they're actually able to achieve what they set out to do or what we have set out for them, naturally they will be motivated.
What's the number one biggest misconception people have about being a financial advisor?
I think a lot of times, and I still do get that sometimes, like people come to me and say, oh, it's just sales, what? You're just selling me something, right? Yes, it is a sales industry, right? But really our job is about solving problems, right? As I shared earlier before as well, when we help our clients, right, it's not one product to solve one problem because people have different priorities, different problems at any point in time, right? At the end of the day is we look at which are the problems that, our solutions will be best able to meet those needs.
Can you share a moment where you nearly quit and what kept you going?
I think definitely everyone in this industry will have that moment, and that point in time for me was somewhere around when COVID was going to happen, right? It's around 2020 because at that point I was having my second kid. I was carrying my second kid, right? And there was a big shift and change in how the industry was going to be like. Right, because our industry, we're known to meet clients in person and all, right? But then now everything was changed almost like overnight, right?
Right.
Like we have to relearn a lot of things. We have to understand how can we, still meet up with our clients and still keep that engagement, right? That client engagement, even if we cannot see them in person, right? So that learning curve was rather steep, right? And honestly, carrying a second kid, it was very tempting to just say, okay, I should just take a break and rest, right? But I think what kept me going was that I reminded myself why I joined this industry. At the end of the day, it's because I value the time, right? I value the freedom that I can get out of this industry, right? By doing this, I'm actually able to spend more time with my family in the future. So if I give up now, then it also means that, my clients whom I promised that I'll walk this journey with them will be very disappointed. So with all of that, as I pushed through, right, I went for mentorship, right? I did a lot of things to improve myself, not just in the technical skills part of it, but also the soft skills part of it, and being patient as well. And then after that, I saw like the results followed. And after that, there's really no turning back already.
What are the top 3 qualities you look for when bringing someone into your team?
Okay, I would say the first one is definitely hunger for achievement, right? Because if you don't even have the ambition, right, to want to do well, when there's any ups, okay, no issues. When there are downs, right, it's really very hard to bring yourself, right, or like to set your mind to have that clarity that you still want to continue in this industry. Right. The second, I would say, is they must have humility, right? Yeah, as I said, rejection is actually very normal in our industry, right? And if you're going to get offended easily by people saying no to you, or you get shy easily because, people are rejecting you, right? Then it's going to be very difficult to continue in the industry. I always tell my agents that, every no is just a step closer to a yes, right? And the third, I would say you must have the heart, yeah?
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, you are working with your clients, right? Working with their families, right? This journey is a long journey with them, right? If you do not like to build client relationships, you do not like to build relationships with people, you do not have the heart to do it, then it will be very difficult to continue in this. You're much better off like going to a 9-to-5 job. Once the hours are over, you can just, close off your laptop and go home.
Which agent is better? Real estate agent or insurance agent?
Actually, I don't think that's a very fair question because it's like 2 different job scopes as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of respect for real estate agents because they're also my clients. But in any case, I would say that real estate agents, they are more on a transactional basis. Like it or not, it's about, once they sold you their main objective is to buy you that house or help you to rent out that house, right? Help you to buy or sell houses. Whereas for financial advisors, right, we're really working with you, right? Managing your whole finances, not just for yourself, but for your family, not just for the present, but also for the future. Right. Yeah. So it's a much longer runway in that sense. Yeah. But both have very important jobs.
What's the first 90 days support system like for someone joining you?
The first 90 days, the most important thing is that they understand like what role they're in, right? So the mindset part. The mindset part is very important because, it keeps them motivated, right? On what are the right things to do, gives them clarity as well, right? Then next, okay, we look at their actual skill sets, right? So how are they in conversations? right? Do they know how to hold a conversation or ask right questions? And in fact, right, a lot of times it's also good to make sure that there's certain authenticity and like they actually can be themselves, right? So if, they're very rigid, right? Or if they are too task oriented and they go into the appointment with only like dollar signs in their eyes, right? Definitely the client can tell, right?
Right.
Yeah, because the most important thing is client only remember how they feel, right? They don't remember so much about, all the other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So providing them all these foundational skill sets, right? Giving them the support to make sure that they feel support along the way. If they have any questions, they can always come back to me. Creating the environment, right, where their mindset is mostly on the positive, right? I mean, there are times to definitely be down, right? We have to be realistic, but, generally positive, right? I think all this would help the agent to do very well very quickly in 90 days.
How do you make sure advisors don't burn out in this career?
One thing I always tell my agents as well that, even if you do very well, right? Yeah, your sales goals are really good. But if it comes as a sacrifice of your own well-being or even relationships with the people around you, it is not sustainable. So to me, sustainability is very, very important, which also address the issues of, not be burnout, right? So it's very important to have the right mindset, right? To know that and understand that, you have to take care of yourself. Make sure that you are also, replenishing yourself every time when you feel a little bit down, because our energy level, right, is very important. Yeah. Clients read off energies from us as well, right? If we go into an appointment always tired, all right, not being present, right, the client won't be interested to talk to you.
What's the number one skill you think every new advisor should master early on that is crucial for success later on?
Okay, so one thing that I felt made a difference in my career was that I learned to ask the right questions. So I think it's very debatable between listening and asking the right questions, but I would say asking the right questions is very key, because when you're able to ask the right questions and then of course listen for the answers, right? So when clients tell you more, right, because you give them the space and the assurance to share more, right, you can actually deep dive a lot more into what their problems are and then help them to solve their problems. Yeah. So asking questions is actually a technique. It doesn't come naturally. You actually have to build on it. Yeah. So before when you asked the previous questions, right, one of the things was maybe I should have added on that role playing is very important, right? So yeah, after asking the right questions, you also have to make sure that you role play enough so that it's natural also when you actually speak to your clients, right?
True.
Yeah, because you can't go to the clients and then you have this whole list of questions and then it becomes like a interview or interrogation.
Why is the turnover in the financial advisory world so high?
I myself have seen many people leaving the industry. This year is actually my 10th year in the industry, right?
Wow.
And I think a bit about what I shared earlier as well is because sometimes we come into this industry without having the right expectations, right? Yeah. So, we might think that we could come into this industry and just sell a product. Maybe for some people, they think that way. But then after that, they realize that, okay, it's actually a lot more than that. Yeah. So when the expectations are not exactly met, and if you're not earning a certain income, naturally you will leave. Yeah. Yeah. So it's also very normal to have people leaving any industry anyway. I would say it's actually a natural attrition.
What's the growth pathway for someone who joins your team from scratch?
If someone were to join my team from scratch, we're a very small team, right? So, and I'm considered a relatively young manager in the industry, right? So, definitely, I would be, I won't want to say hand-holding, but I will have a lot more support. I'll be giving a lot more support to the person as well, right? Because at the end of the day, right, I realized that I am also thankful for my initial starting years where I had good knowledge and foundation, right, that I learned from all my previous managers and mentors, right? Without them spending the time to train me to make sure I have the technical skills and the soft skills, right, then, I wouldn't be where I am today. But a lot of it still comes with, right, you having to take the initiative to want to do better. Yeah. So as long as, we can meet that, then whoever who wants to join the team, right, you can be assured that if you have that desire to grow, right, you will have the support that will be given to you.
Isn't the insurance industry saturated with too many agents? So is now really a good time to join?
Actually, yeah, it is quite true in that sense that you will realize that, hey, there's someone who knows somebody who is a financial advisor. But
Yep.
yet, why are there so many of us still in the industry, right? Because I truly believe differentiation is very important. Everyone have their own market, right? So who are your niche market, right? Like we have agents who only specialize in, maybe serving the needs of the elderly. We have agents who only serve the needs of young parents, right? So long as you're able to build your clientele base, right? You know where's your niche market, right? And you're able to differentiate yourself in that market, then you don't have to worry. Yeah. There will definitely be business to be made.
What is one advice you would give yourself if you go back in time?
I think if I could go back in time, one advice would be that I shouldn't be comparing myself so much with others. I think the pressure of being in an industry like this is that, you do want to know that you are doing well, right? And it's very obvious in the sense that we are recognized by accolades. Right.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's also when I chose this industry, it's very different from all my other friends and peers. Right. Yeah. Because as I shared, I started off in an investment banking role. So that desire to want to do better, right, and make sure that I can keep up was very important. But after that, I realized that we all have our own path to take, right? My success could be someone else like middle journey, or like, my middle journey could be someone else already success. What they classify as success. So everybody walks different journey at the end of the day, right? I think what's important is you're accountable to yourself to do your best.
What an enlightening conversation that we had with Jasmine. I love how she broke down the importance of clarity before action and showed us that financial planning isn't just about money. It's about giving yourself freedom, peace of mind, and the ability to truly take care of those you love. So, guys, if today's episode inspired you, do share it with your friends and family who might benefit from smarter financial planning or are considering a career in financial industry. A big thank you once again to Jasmine.
Thank you,
and
Rayson.
to all of you tuning in to the GrowCast show. Until next time, see you again. Goodbye.